This week's episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast is driven by Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy. CGA is the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource. They've got over 100 instructional videos, including everything you need to take a 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com, sign up for the free preview module, and begin your training journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. You are listening to the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast, episode 136. This week on the show, we're talking duck depression. It's hit the HP crew hard. We're going to talk about how we're dealing with it and how we plan to get through the off-season. All right, welcome to the 136th episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Palm, and we're your on-demand audio source for all things waterfowl and waterfowl hunting. Check us out at hpoutdoors.com, across all the great podcast directories and catchers out there, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all the good ones, Spotify, wherever you listen to quality podcast content, you can find our show. You can also head over to social media, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out our Facebook group if you're looking to chat with some like-minded hunters. Also chat with my co-host, Dan Haruska. Dan, what's up?
It's the holiday weekend, which I feel really weird saying holiday weekend with it being Memorial Day. Yeah. It seems like it shouldn't be called a holiday or anyway. Yeah, so not too much, man. Ball, T-ball, I know you're really involved with baseball and just depression, like you said. Thinking about duck hunting and how far away it is and everything else that's going on, it's just kind of crazy right now. No question. So we'll definitely get into that here in a moment. But before we do, just want to take a minute to thank Gunner Kennels. They're engineered for your dog, designed for travel, and built for your peace of mind. The G1 Kennel has set a new industry standard and put Gunner in a category all its own. Gunner was started to protect your pet. It continues to be at the center of everything that they do, and Gunner is dedicated to building the best and safest pet travel crate on the market because man's best friend deserves man's best kennel. Check out their G1 series of kennels and accessories at gunnerkennels.com. And thank you to Eukanuba. Out in the field, how you've prepared determines how you'll perform. With balanced fat and protein to support peak condition, Eukanuba Premium Performance Dog Food enhances strength, energy, and endurance. So when the pavement ends and the truck doors finally swing open, you and your dog are ready for anything. Strong, focused, and ready for anything? That's a Eukanuba dog. Also, head over to the HP Outdoors website, check out the discount tab, and you can find out how you can save some cash with some great supporters of our show. So, we say it all the time, but thank you for supporting the companies that support us as they make this show possible. Dan, I'll tell you, I don't think I've hit this. I mean, no, it's not that I don't think. I know. This is the worst I've ever had sort of duck depression, just the off-season blues. Like it's not even close. Yeah, I can mix in with that. And I don't know if it's like because there's other things going on. Like my kids are finally, playing T-ball or soccer or whatever it is, and then spending more time there and thinking about, the fall and how far away it is. And there's just a lot. It's just different. It seems different. I think on that and thinking about this coming season with our limits, like I mentioned before, like that's kind of depressing too on me. I can feel that a little bit.
Yeah. See, my duck depression this year is different than in the past. It's not so much looking forward to, like how much further away the season away is or anything like that. It's a general lack of motivation because I'm super busy doing like a bunch of other stuff in life right now. Like my kid's super busy with baseball. We got the baby. So like my life is full of a bunch of other stuff. So I don't really have a lot of time to think about duck hunting at this point. And, even, this week on the show, we had a really hard time thinking about a topic and kind of coming to something. So here we are on Sunday night at 11:14 p.m. trying to knock this out. And as hopefully everyone won't hear because I'll edit it out, I've struggled with getting through some of this tonight because my mind is just kind of exhausted and sort of all over the place. So yeah, it feels different to me this time around, but it's definitely duck depression for sure.
So, like I was saying, looking forward to this coming year. One thing that I was looking up, before we decided on the whole duck depression idea was kind of this coming year. And you think about the numbers and, obviously we're seeing the bag limit reductions here and all the seasons are coming out, all the fun stuff. But then also right now you're seeing that Canada is like super dry. And then you see the Midwest where everything is just underwater, and it's almost to the point where these farmers aren't going to get any crops in. Right. And when I say that, eventually they'll get them in, but I know that there's their insurance cutoff date is coming up pretty soon. So, I mean, there's a lot of things in the works right now that could really be harmful to this coming season, especially if there's not the food around, and if Canada is super dry, they're fighting the wildfires up there. I think I read 200,000 acres have burned already, but then just a little bit south, like North Dakota has ducks. They're nesting in North and South Dakota. It's kind of wet there and almost prime breeding habitat. And then south of that is pretty much all water. So it's a pretty crazy summer so far.
Yeah, it definitely has been. The weather, the flooding and stuff in the Midwest has been insane. And, it's been kind of talked about on social media and stuff a little bit, but, the mainstream media is not covering that enough / at all. And, yeah, it's pretty rough on them out there. So we're definitely, keeping all those folks out there in our prayers and hoping that, the water subsides soon and stuff. But, yeah, man, it's been tough. So, I think a lot of guys will probably relate to kind of how we're feeling right now. This time of year, it's just, there's a lot of other things competing for your time and attention. And, weather's just, at least here where I'm at, starting to just get hot and humid and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's the official start of the worst part of the year for many of us.
So what are we gonna do about it? What are we able to do about it? What are we spending our time, if we have any extra, to ensure that we do better this year? That's kind of what we're going to talk about. Probably
a lot of nothing, frankly.
Some people more than others, I think.
No, that's one of the ideas that we had about this episode was going to be about that extent of a conversation. No, so I think one of the things to talk about with this week is, so the off season sucks, and all that we've been talking about, but do you use it as a time to make yourself a better hunter, or do you use it as a time to become complacent and essentially become a worse hunter? Because pretty much like everything in life, there's a curve, and you rarely ever in it with anything stay flat on the line, right? So you're either progressing upwards or you're progressing downwards. Can you progress down? I don't know.
Regress.
There you go. So you're doing one of the two things. Right now, I'm probably in a significant regression stage, but you see a lot of guys out there. A big one this time of year is working with their dogs, right? So you're seeing a lot of guys running tests and trials and stuff, and no doubt that is something that is definitely going to pay dividends in the season. So that's definitely a progression move. A lot of dogs, during the season, they don't get a lot of opportunity to work on some of those skills and brush up on things. It's all kind of in the field exposure. So it's good to kind of sharpen their skills, branch out, learn new things. And, so I think that's one that I see a ton, is probably one of the most beneficial things you can do in the off season for you and your dog to kind of help get through the grind.
See, I'm in a really tough situation, and I could use your advice and other people's that listen to the show. So Kimber turned 10 a couple weeks ago, right? So is it fair to her, assuming that she has 1, maybe 2 seasons left, is it fair to her to really start on a training program? It's almost, I almost feel like I'm throwing just a complete curveball to her. Like, I've really been working on like steadiness and smaller, I don't want to say smaller things, but things that I've always worked with her before. Instead of going through like all of Cornerstone and really trying to make her some champion dog that I never started with 9 years ago. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
No, it does.
So I'm trying to. So what I've been doing lately, I actually feel pretty good about it. Keeping her in shape, but really like starting a lot earlier than what we usually would with just doubles and triples and stuff like that. But actually, getting her out and getting her work, like specifically her and not my other dog that's biting at her heels the entire time that we're playing. Because my wife will let her out. Like if I'm training in the backyard, we'll let my other dog out too. So I feel really, I feel good about how we've been doing dog work so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Kimber, I don't think conditioning has ever been an issue. I mean, she's chasing the ATV. She's active all summer long, So I don't really think that's a concern. Yeah, you're getting her some work. It's not gonna hurt. It's definitely gonna help. But I think my question to you at this point would be, as you said, she's got a season or 2 left in her. Are you still gonna hunt her as hard as you did in years past? I mean, like in those later seasons, as the temperatures get cold and things like that, are you going to still be taking her? I mean, I guess, because you asked, is it fair to her? And I guess my question would be, if you're going to ask this of her in the dog days of the summer for the training, are you going to reward her with all the hunts in the fall and winter? Or is it going to be like, for self-preservation, you're going to hold her back some, and then she's not going to get to kind of like truly execute on these other things that you're teaching her?
I guess I was more like, should I get more in depth in the training? Like, and I feel that that's not really fair to her, I guess, personally, because I think why is because I would get frustrated if the old dog doesn't learn new tricks, and if she couldn't pick things up right away, I think I would get very upset. And I think so just keeping it kind of simple with her, like how I've always done it, and I think I'll continue to do that. And then, like you said, once we get in the late season, if she's I don't know, if she's out there shivering, not handling it. And one thing I have noticed the last couple of years is her hearing is not what it used to be. So, I mean, her nose is still as sharp as ever, and her eyes seem as good as they ever were. But man, her hearing when I'm calling or whatever I'm doing to try and get her attention, just not what it used to be. So anyway, I'm keeping the dog training simple, definitely getting her running in. Like you said, I mean, she's never had an issue with being in shape, still the same, and still able to really get after it on the ground. So that's kind of the one spot I'm happy with in the off season so far, I guess.
So I would just say too, with your thought process and your logic there, I don't have any issue with keeping it simple and just staying with what you've always done. But I think that, if you have an expectation that just because she's like if patience is the problem in dog training, I think that's going to be a problem whether you're training an older experienced dog or a puppy, right? I mean, like that's kind of the deal. Like the patience is going to be required. So if you don't think that you have the patience at this time to do it, I think the answer would be the same whether you're talking with a puppy or Kimber. You have to expect them when you're introducing something new. You have to expect them to not be able to grasp it fully on right away. I mean, they may surprise you and grasp it quicker than what you thought they might, but you know what I mean. Like anything that's new, is going to take some time to be learned.
Right. So. No, I agree with that. And it's not, I guess it's, I don't know. Like I feel like with a puppy, if they've never seen something before and you keep drilling it and drilling it and drilling it, like they're going to pick it up. I think asking one more season out of Kimber and like to try and train her in different ways now, and she's just like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Like, would it be fair to her for me to get, like, keep trying to drill that into her? Do you know what I mean?
I do. I just think, you know, I think the puppy to Kimber, that comparison is just tough, because with a puppy, you're starting at the ground and the sky's the limit. You can build up to, you know, that dog's whole hunting career is ahead of it. Like, you can build from the ground up. I mean, with Kimber, if you wanted to introduce some new things, I think in order to have success, you would have to leverage and build off of the things that she already does well and just expound on those capabilities. Because, yeah, I mean, if you try to introduce something completely new to her, that's going to be probably pretty challenging for her to grasp, because she's been doing it for 10 years a different way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like it's not fair to...
I mean, it'd be hard to introduce something brand new. It could be done, but I mean, again, it would be hard. So I would say you're probably best in your scenario to work on what she knows and incrementally improve on the things that she knows but maybe doesn't do well. Like, if she could be more steady in certain situations, maybe, you know, working on those things or whatever. But yeah, to go with some completely new stuff would probably be, you know, just asking for frustration. And you know, ultimately, I think if the training's done right and the dog considers it fun, you know, she'd probably enjoy any of it. You know what I mean? So maybe in our mind, it would be unfair to ask her to do that, but it would just be another play session for her. And, you know, but I don't know. I'm probably the least experienced person dog training that you know. So that's just my common sense trying to. So
anyone else out there listening, definitely shoot me some info and let me know what you think.
Yeah. So I will say this year, this off season is definitely going to be a regression season for me. There's just no way around it. You know, 5-month-old baby right now. My son is like super busy with baseball and travel baseball and everything else. So I don't have a lot of time to do anything. Like, I probably won't shoot my gun all summer. Just the reality of it. I may blow some duck calls and goose calls occasionally, because that's pretty easy to handle. So, I'll do that probably some, but like all my gear, it's going to stay bagged up in the garage. Like, I'm not going to break anything out and clean anything. I just don't have the time right now, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be way, way behind the 8 ball come September, you know, than probably a lot of guys out there who are, you know, already kind of probably grinding on some of that stuff, you know.
I think one thing that, I mean, calling, I probably won't do too much calling. Shooting, I'll probably end up in the last few months, probably starting next month, start shooting a couple, if not every week, every other week, just to keep the flow going. But one thing that I'm trying to get better at this year is organization of my gear, and just keeping, like, even if it is the blind bag or a toolbox or whatever it is in my truck, to make sure I have extra, like, lights and batteries or whatever it may be. Just having my backups. I might even put an extra jerk rig in there just in case I forget the one that I hook up, because we talked about this, but really, having just that extra level of organization, I feel I need, and that's something that I'm really trying to get after before season starts this year.
Yeah, another thing I would like to do, and I do this, but I don't do it to the extent that I wish I could, is maintaining and building on landowner relationships and access opportunities. So where I hunt, you know, I don't hunt anywhere within like an hour drive of my house. So with my schedule being as busy as it is, it's hard for me to get out and like just go touch base with landowners in person and like go knock on neighbors' doors and, fields that I know that have held birds or ponds that have held birds historically, trying to work on access on those things. It's just not practical for me to be able to do that. So like it's an ongoing challenge as to being able to build that access list for me. And, the summer is a good time to do it because people are outside more and it's warmer. They're outside doing chores or cutting the grass or picnicking or hanging out or whatever. So, it's daylight longer. So people will spend more time outside in the evening when it's nice out, cooling down. Like it's easier to get in front of people and chat, but I'm just not able to take advantage of that. And I think, as a direct result of that, in the area that I live, I'm doing way more out of state hunting than I've ever done in the past. I mean, the majority of my time spent this year in the field will not be in Virginia. It will be in other states because when I'm here, it's going to be, family and work and basketball or whatever my kids are doing that are pulling me away from stuff. So it's like for me to get good quality time in the field, I have to commit like 3 or 4 days and go somewhere out of state and sort of like get those responsibilities off me to an extent so I can just focus on hunting. So that to me has kind of been an internal wrestling match with, do I try to find time to get out and knock on some doors and talk with some folks, or do I just say, screw it, like I'm just going to hunt primarily other areas where I, can get access through an outfitter or whatever it is. I mean, that's just kind of the reality of where I'm at in life right now in the area that I live. I don't have public access grounds really anywhere near me, with the extent of the river that I hunt, but that is limited on where you can get on. So there's not really much to really scout there at this point. But we don't have a lot of wildlife management areas in where I live. So, I'm just really limited and it's kind of hard. So it's like, I don't get to just spend a lot of time scouting or anything because I just don't have a lot of places to scout here locally. So it's kind of also leading to the depression aspect.
Do you know what's really cool is, so it's almost June, July, August will be 5 years since we started this, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
5 years since we've been on, and going back and talking with so many people, and it's funny because we get to see a lot of people grow, but they obviously get to hear how we grow and our families grow, and just getting to the point where some guys are like, man, I only have time to do this. And now it's, you're like, I have to make it a point to go out of town for 3 days so I don't have to do all this. You know what I mean? So just, it's really, really neat to have everything come back around, I guess, and facing the same issues that a lot of the listeners are too. They're driving 45 minutes or an hour or 2 hours to hunting spots or to their friends or whatever it may be. And you've had that issue in Virginia for a while now, since some of those spots closer to you have been told that it's not advised to hunt there, even though you should be able to hunt there. But,
yeah, well, just that piece of ground has been sold and, communities being built on it now. So it's like,
I was going to say, is that developed now?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing, land use here is in high demand, and there's just not a big hunting culture here locally. There are some pockets, but those are usually very difficult to get access to because they've had people hunting them for many years, and they're local and they have relationships and all that kind of stuff that takes a long time to build. And it's a full year round thing if you want to build a portfolio of spots that you can hunt, no matter where you're at in the country. Like, you got to work at that. Here you have to work even harder because you get in the truck and you better drive an hour in any direction before you even start, because it's just very, very rare. Now if you're like an archery hunter and you want a deer hunt or something like that, yeah, you can get access all over the place. Any of these neighborhoods and these suburbs and stuff, they just want to thin the deer herd or whatever, easy stuff. But ducks and geese, man, totally different ball game, and is definitely challenging. So I thought about a lot of times, like, maybe I should just spend time up in southern Pennsylvania, or in that area, trying to find spots and go up there and knock on doors and things like that. But then you get the problem of, hey, there's a truck in my driveway with an out-of-state tag on it. Like, what does this person want? Why are they coming here? So there's challenges with that too. But yeah, that's
I want
a big one for me.
I wanted to ask you, Taylor really got bit by the hunting bug last year and was asking you quite often, when you got to go next. And I know, you'll be doing a lot of fall ball this year and travel baseball, but is there any shotgun shooting in his future of this summer, or trying to push that envelope at all?
I don't think so. I mean, he probably would. I just don't. I don't know. I'm not sure that we're there yet with him. I don't currently have a gun. I haven't bought a 410 or anything yet that I've talked about doing. Again, so it's kind of like, just another thing on the list that I need to do. But maybe I'll take him to shoot like the 22 or something like that this summer if we get around to it. But again, our time is like, I'm going to be coaching baseball this summer with your brother with the Keystone State Bombers. So, that's 5 weekends out of my summer or whatever it is. It'll be taken by that. And then we've got our own travel schedule and stuff. So, we don't have a lot of time, and he's super into baseball, and that's okay with me too. I love baseball just as much, if not more, than duck hunting. So, if he wants to play baseball every day, then that's cool with me. We'll go play baseball every day. I love that too. So, it's whatever he wants to do, man. And if he wants to go shoot, then we'll go shoot. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to do that, but I'm just not sure we're quite there yet. We'll see.
Yeah, that's all. I'm trying to think back of like when I started shooting, and I think my dad pulled the awful trick of like, here, try this gun. It's a 12 gauge, and you're too small for it, but I'm going to let you do it anyways. But we did a lot of shooting at 22s before that, but the 12 gauge was one of the first shotguns that I shot up into a bunch of trees, and definitely put a thumping on my shoulder. So that all comes down to the dad and how much fun you want to have or punishment you want to instill into your child. But yeah, I'm sure when he's ready, you'll know it and get a gun in his hands.
Yeah, my son's a little, he's growing. He just turned 8, right? He is growing, but he's still emotionally a little bit soft in certain ways. And I think he would be very nervous and very hesitant to shoot something that he knows is going to recoil to some extent. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure he would truly have a lot of interest in shooting a gun with much recoil right now. So 22s, things like that, I think he'd be fine. But 20 gauge, even maybe 410, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm not gonna force him. He's still a couple years away yet from even being close to ready to handle a gun in the field on his own and that kind of stuff. So, we'll see how it goes. I again, in Pennsylvania when I was growing up, we couldn't hunt till we were 12. So I don't think I really shot a gun before I was 10 or 11. Shot a 30-30 was my first gun. And then after that, like playing some with the 22 or whatever, a little bit of BB gun stuff, but like that was it. It was kind of like I didn't really get into it too much until it was like pretty close to game time for me. That was just kind of the way it worked out. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
30-30, 22, BB gun, paintball. Dan. Yeah. Hitting Dan.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. So do you have any upgrades this season? Any equipment necessities or ones that might hit the blind with you this year?
Not really. I've upgraded a few Sitka pieces. But probably no. I mean, maybe some camera gear stuff at some point, but as far as my shotgun, my decoys, I've at this point I've got nothing really that I can think of that's going. So yeah, I mean, I mean, we're kind of blessed with with the show to have a pretty good setup as it is. So I don't feel like I've got a huge gap in my coverage anywhere, So I feel pretty good about what we have and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really needing anything of significant upgrade. But what about you?
No, I mean, always in the back of my mind. So I have that boat, and I'm always thinking about putting a motor on it again. And actually, the more I talk to you about Conneaut Lake and it being a deeper lake, like getting out on Pymatuning when that storm kicked up and it being a shallow lake and almost put us under, that it put some fear into me. You know what I mean? And having a 9.9 motor on that boat was just not cutting it, which actually that 9.9 might have been a blessing that it didn't put us under the waves, I guess. But, they're up to a 20 horsepower motor now, which we could have got back to safety instead of trying to push it. But anyway, I always think about either getting a motor on that boat and getting out on Conneaut Lake a bit more, or traveling a little bit to different rivers or whatever. But that's about it. Just trying to expand and be able to get into new areas. But that's about the only thing I can really think of as far as upgrades go or equipment changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, like I was saying, a lot of my hunting is going to be done out of state this year. So that really takes a lot of the gear concerns off the table. It's pretty much gun and camo, waders, that kind of stuff that I feel pretty good about as it is. So, in fact, I could probably sell a lot of my decoys that I have right now and probably not miss them. I mean, I've got dozens of silhouettes that have never even seen a field before. I've just had for a couple years or whatever. So it's it's one of those things, man, where I'd like the gear aspect of it, but I'm just all my money's going on buying freaking kids baseball bats and gloves and all that crap. So it's paying for kid daycare, that's not fun.
Well, that's one I'm excited for September, man. I get the twins are at a daycare system and into school. So
yeah,
it's not like Virginia daycare, but it'll help me out. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a significant cost for sure.
It's crazy. That seems like a racket.
I mean, it is. There's no doubt. But what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
Jeez Louise. So, anyway,
just take it on the chin. That's all there is to it.
So what else, man? Anything else?
Well,
I want to know what do you think about? Well, people are going to listen tomorrow, which will be Monday, Memorial Day. I always enjoy your little talks about holidays, and especially any of those that in service, and especially the ones that pay the ultimate price. So, yeah,
Memorial Day is a tough one, man. I'm like you. It bothers me that everyone says Happy Memorial Day, and that really kind of ate at me for a long time. But I think I've sort of come to grips with that for one main reason. People make the sacrifices that they do that we the reasons why we have Memorial Day, so that we can be happy and so that we can be free and we can enjoy the things that we enjoy. So don't get wrapped around the axle anymore about people saying Happy Memorial Day. I mean, they're just trying to enjoy life and enjoy a 3-day weekend, which they're excited about. And that's part of the freedoms that we enjoy in this country that, people pay that price for. But it is important to remember ultimately why we have that day. And, actually one of the things I do, and I've done this for several years now, is every year in Memorial Day, the actual day of, I try to find like 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, just a period of time where I can kind of like go somewhere in my house or whatever, if I'm getting ready for the day or whatever it is, and just take a few minutes to kind of just like sit, and I just kind of think, and I try to just think about the things that like I value in my life and what's important to me and all these kind of things that I'm thankful for. And, obviously family is a huge part of that. And I try to like allow myself to actually like almost like mourn for a few minutes on like the people that have like dealt with that sacrifice. Cause every time every time this time of year comes up, you see the pictures of the wives laying in front of the gravestones of their husbands, or the kids that are in front of their gravestones, their dad or their mom or whatever it is, and it's just like, that's such a brutal thing to see. Like, that is just like the hardest thing to look at for me. And I just try to remember that while we're barbecuing and stuff, like we're remembering those people, and it's just a really raw kind of thing to deal with for a lot of families, and it's just really tough. So especially here in the DC area, we have such a strong military presence, and all that kind of stuff. We see it a lot, and it's really woven into the fabric of our country, and for better for worse, and for all her blemishes, that it's still the best place in the world to live, and so I think it's just one of those things, man, where tomorrow's a tough day for a lot of people, and I'm going to be smoking some pork tenderloin, and my neighbor's going to do a brisket, and we're going to get together, and we're going to have a barbecue with the families and stuff like that. And I'm sure thousands or millions of people will be doing that everywhere else across the country tomorrow too. But I just challenge everybody, if you hear this tomorrow, take a minute and think about those families that have, paid that price. Because it's not just that, that individual hero who's paid the price. It's their family and their kids and everyone else that misses them every day. So, yeah, just remember those folks tomorrow and enjoy the day, and just be thankful for the opportunities that we have to enjoy it.
Couldn't say it any better, man.
Yep. So I think that's probably going to about do it. We wanted to be a little bit shorter this week, and it'll be a little bit later getting out than normal, because I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm tired. So I'll get up in the morning and do it. And I was talking to you about potentially joining a CrossFit gym, and one of my neighbors has done CrossFit for several years, and one of the things I do like about Memorial Day is his CrossFit gym, and many of them they do the Murph workout, which is after Lieutenant Michael Murphy, who, Operation Red Wings and Lone Survivor, that story. But I've always been particularly interested in his story because, as he was a Penn State graduate, it was kind of one of those things where it's like you feel a little bit, closer to it because of just some random tie that you have to that person that, means nothing to anybody else other than just the fact that he went to the same school that you did. But, just the type of person he was, and to see, how, after all of that, people are still doing a workout in his honor every year and all that kind of stuff, I think is pretty cool. So that may be something that I kind of get myself geared up to do in time, and try to knock out a Murph before I'm too old and decrepit to be able to do anything. I think that'd be a pretty cool kind of just, personal life goal to sort of.
I thought you were going to come out and just say that you're going to do the Murph tomorrow.
Oh, there's no possible way I could do a full Murph tomorrow. There's no way. It's pretty.
What is it? A mile and then 100 push-ups, 200 squats, or 100 something. There's pull-ups in there too.
Yeah.
And then another mile run.
So it's let's see here. You start with a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile to finish it. And then I think it can also be done with a weighted vest, or I think that's how it's supposed to be done, but it's sort of optional. So, yeah, super easy doing 100 pull-ups, right?
Dude, I was gonna say,
yeah, and I mean it's all for time. So you're trying to do it as fast as you possibly can do it.
Right.
So, that's one of the things that I, for all of the racket that CrossFit takes, and for the people that poke fun at it and all that kind of stuff. I do think it's cool how they have workouts for heroes like that. And you can, they do them all the time, and they, it's just something that kind of resonates with me and that I like. So, anyway, we'll see if that,
I think
comes to fruition.
One of next week's guests might have something to say about all that.
Yeah. Indeed.
I think Dane's a CrossFitter.
He is, for sure. For sure. So
good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, good luck smoking it. And I wish that you were doing the Murph. I'd try and keep up with you.
Yeah, maybe next year will be that'll be a goal that I do. I mean, the problem is if I do this CrossFit thing, I'm going to have to go to the classes at 5 a.m., which, makes for an early morning. So that's a commitment. And, I'm not sure I'm ready to make that yet. So we'll see. But, and anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap it up this week. You got anything else? One last thing here before we close out?
No, man, I'm good. It's late. Did a little camping.
So random.
It is. We got our first camping in, and no, I'm good. I'm tired too.
All right.
Everyone have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Before we close out, just want to take a minute to thank Gunner Kennels, Eukanuba, and Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource with over 100 instructional videos, including everything that you need to take a 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegunDogAcademy.com to sign up for the free preview module and begin your training journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. All right, that does it for episode 136. Hopefully you enjoyed our depressing talk about duck depression and how the struggle is real. Do your best to make it through this off season. We're trying to chug away as well. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Enjoy your time with friends and family. Hopefully get out and do some picnicking or some smoking of meat or whatever it is that you do. In the meantime, head over to iTunes, check us out on all the past episodes, leave us a 5-star rating and review. And until next time, for Dan, I'm Josh. Take care.